Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. My name's Laurence, and to my left we have Mitch.
Vesryn of House Jafar.
Simon.
Valar of House Nix.
James.
Matt.
And Tom.
Escobar Centuro.
And there is a space missing, and that is Bree. She will be our player, but also a really important job, an editor. So she will look at the video footage later and hopefully be able to do something to make us look a little bit less
Attractive.
Thanks, Bree.
attractive.
Oh god, you have your work cut out for you.
Or attractive.
So much work cut out
all
for you.
the time. There's going to be so much to do. So I really appreciate all the efforts that you guys have put in to be here, and I appreciate Bree for all the efforts that she's going to do behind the scenes and during the scenes for our next recording. Yes.
Very important question.
Yes.
Wi-Fi.
Sorry?
Wi-Fi. What's your Wi-Fi?
Yeah,
So all the players begin the game with a sanity bar of 100. You all get 100 points. This bar is separate to other types of ability scores, HP or AC, etc., etc. However, is equally, if not more important. If asked to do a sanity check / save, it is a D20 roll plus your Constitution and Wisdom modifier. The result works the same as other types of saves. However, any damage received, for the most part, will only affect your sanity bar. However, if this gets down to 0, I can promise you that bad things, incredibly bad things, will happen.
just looking at the stats I have, both of those are not promising.
Did we say con and wisdom?
I'm in trouble.
Oh boy. Even doing 2 might be generous. However, you have a very limited amount of dice that you can recover on a short rest. You get 3 d12s. They work the same as hit die, except they are not replenishable by long rest. So you've got 3 d12
for the whole
campaign.
Yes. However, potions can give you boosts to your sanity, so there are ways around it. However, it is quite important to stress that you want to look after your sanity as much as possible, because there are fewer ways in which you can regain. Normal health potions will not regain sanity. They have to be unique potions.
bright green ones.
The bright green ones. And yes, that's that. If I describe a bottle with green liquid in it, keep it.
Writing that down.
Cue maniacal
Bottle with green liquid. It is not boogers.
Highly important for your sanity.
That is concerning that my first thought was boogers and not acid.
I'm glad you're aware.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Okay, we're going to start in our adventure with Escobar. You are currently sitting in a tavern known as the Salty Brine Inn. It is located in Dragon Turtle Cove, a highly defensible bay surrounded by high cliffs and alcoves with ballista towers placed in optimal positions for defense over the bay. The village itself is built into the sides of the cliff, and about the 4th level above water level is the tavern itself, which is loud, boisterous, and filled with the smell of salt and alcohol.
Hurrah!
I can picture it now.
The Dragon Turtle Cove, as you know, is a hotspot for mercenaries, people alike, as they turn a blind eye to that kind of business. You're currently on your 2nd tankard of ale, sitting across from a man in a leather hide cloak. Without saying a word, he places a leather pouch on the table, and it sounds like the pouch of coins. 150 gold pieces to be precise. Do you open the bag?
Yes.
As you do so, the mysterious man, as you know to be Raymond Cutter, says, "I believe we are all in order now. My client has been returned home, and this is the second half. Good, He was cut short, as a lady with wavy dark hair, white skin, blue pale eyes, a scar that crosses her lips from her right cheek down to her chin, and a somewhat cocky smirk. Makes her way through the crowd and sits next to you and Raymond. I hope I'm not interrupting anything. Do you like tales, Escobar?
Well, in fact, we were just discussing a little business. I hope you can hold on for 2 more seconds.
Very well. Raymond looks at her. I don't think I know you. What was your name? Ah! She replies to him. How impolite of me. My name is Rosa. Most people call me the Widow.
Well, that is quite the enchanting name.
Raymond looks at you and says, will I be in contact with you, I guess?
Yes.
Pleasure again to meet you, Rosa. I hope all is in order.
Yes, I am more than pleased with the second half of the payment.
Very well, very well. He stands up and he politely leaves, sort of barely glancing back afterwards, though. He seems to be leaving in a bit of a hurry. And then Rosa pays her attention to you again and says, so.
I'm just going to cut her off. Now, before we get started, I may as well get myself another drink. Do you partake?
Not me, but... and you see a older lady, quite plump, walk by in a pretty much a black apron. And she says, what would it be, Escobar?
Well,
Your usual?
Seeing as my friend here does not drink, I shall have 2 ales for myself.
2 ales for yourself. Very well. And Rosa nods, hands over a couple of gold pieces, and says, that should be enough for your drinks for the rest of the night.
Well, that is quite generous of you. Now, tell me what brings you here.
Well, I suppose you would like to hear this tale.
Oh, I've heard many tales in my time. One more could not hurt.
What about tales of lost ships forgotten to time and legend?
That kind of tale would interest me perhaps more than others.
Very well. She looks at you again and says, you don't recognize me, do you?
I cannot say I do.
Roll me a
I roll
history check. Yes, you can.
Not bad. Not bad. 16?
16. She resembles someone that you've once known. Maybe a younger version of her.
No?
No. I knew a younger version of this woman.
You knew a older version of this woman.
Oh.
That's weird.
You think that she looks an awfully lot like your mother.
Oh, that's bad.
That is bad. I have
Oedipus Schmeedipus, so long as he loves his mother.
I don't know how much conversation you guys have had.
There's only so much loving that should happen.
I have had a lot of nights that I don't remember, but come on. I have morals.
You are not 100% sure, but she does look like a striking version of her younger self.
Okay.
I'm
not going to bring that up yet.
Yeah. Fair enough.
However, 2 ales in.
Yeah, never mind, you will. Anyway, I met a rather interesting lady by the name of Heidi. A half-elven lady, short hair, blue eyes. Very typical. We got talking and she mentions the name of a ship, the Phantasm. It turns out this little ship had a little tumble through a rift in our dimension. She claims to have a map on where the rift was found, but will only show you.
Did she mention what she wants in return for this information?
She didn't say, but I thought this might tickle your interest just a little bit.
It does. And what do you want for this information?
I'm a storyteller. I like to hear stories of lost ships and treasures.
Where do I find this woman?
She can be located at the Arcane Jewel in Amberton City. You must travel there when you can.
Well, I seem to have a bit of free time on my hands. I shall be...
Very well. I won't hold you up. You shall enjoy your night of drinking, I am sure.
Oh, I already am. Thank you.
And she stands up,
I'm waiting.
bids you farewell, and leaves.
All right.
Okay, cutting over now. Heading back past Rockstead Village, north, heading towards north of Mayrun.
Mm-hmm.
Find two elves. One wearing... Would you like to describe how your character looks?
Sure. So it's kind of a study in contrasts, really, isn't
Yeah.
it? So whilst Vesryn is sort of preternaturally charismatic, people look at him. Valar Nix, your attention slides off him. He's dressed in sort of dark blacks and greens that would intuitively make him blend in with the forest. His dark hair is pulled back from his face in a simple ponytail. Whilst he is attractive, like most of his race, there's a sort of distance about him, an aloofness that means that people don't spend much time looking at him. He moves with a feline, almost supernatural grace. And like most elves, he's got a longbow slung over his back. But on his right thigh is a strange holster with an odd weapon that most people won't have seen before. But it's three pieces of very pale wood bound with silver into three linked chain segments with a leaf-shaped spear tip on the end of it. And it's all bound up onto the side of his leg. Doesn't say much.
He doesn't have to.
And he never leaves. and he never leaves Vesryn's side.
And the contrast there is Vesryn is a very charismatic elf, the type that you would find quite happy in the lower slums, saying hello to everyone while buying them drinks and hearing their stories, but also being envoy and emissary for queens and courts. He is dressed well, but doesn't proclaim his station. He lets his personality do that for him. He is always with a winning and charming smile. But the thing about Vesryn that, if you know him, is, as Valar does, is it's his eyes that really tell you a lot of what is actually happening that he's looking at. And although he might be making jokes about one thing, all of his questions and interactions are very much layered to a level that means there is more going on here than just the party aristocrat that seems to be before you. He is also in blacks, black coat, black slacks, black shirt, silver belt, very refined, but not so much so that he both stands out and sort of just sits back in the background as well. Knee-high, very shiny boots though, and he also carries a walking stick with a silver head. Looks like almost like a doorknob on the end of it. But the shaft of the stick itself is probably the most outstanding part of him, because it's in the same coloured wood of Valar's weapon itself, and he never lets this go out of his sight.
Nice. I like that. I like that a lot.
Oh, we're just getting started.
You've been travelling back home now for the best part of a week. The journey's been long, and has been the usual kind of journey that you would make until you reach the high road heading back through Rockstead Village. The road, normally busy with carts, wagons and deliveries of food and supplies, is now empty, despite being a sunny day in the middle of the day. And you are only a few hours from the southernmost point of the high forest, back to the road into your home of Talon's Hearth.
We would notice that this is unusual.
You would absolutely know this unusual. You're very used to walking past busy hustling with traffic.
Do either of us see or hear anything out of the ordinary, like apart from the missing traffic?
Roll me a perception.
Oh, first roll.
With pleasure.
First roll. You can both roll it.
So that's a natural 18, which means it's 24.
Beautiful.
I'm nowhere near as perceptive as that, I don't think. It is a
Actually, it was a 19. There you go.
10 plus this, so 16.
It's good for our appearance. Not so great for the dice rolls.
What you do notice that's very unusual is normally you might see the occasional smoke from chimneys in the distance, usually black, being well lit. However, this smoke is white, which suggests to you that the fire has been long since put out, and it's just leftover steam from the heat. Okay. You make your way up through dense trees and you notice a number of horse tracks riding in groups, whereas usually they'd be more sporadic, or being that it would be deliveries from one cart at a time. You notice it seems to be a group of horse tracks heading in the direction to and from the village.
Okay.
Well, I think we get going.
Yeah, we need to get back to Talon's Hearth.
Yep.
Do we investigate for clues?
Yes,
or do
sir.
we make haste time?
We go to where the smoke is, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
You check it out. As we go in, if you want me to roll again, I will, but obviously I'm moving very, very carefully, checking for booby traps. I'm hyper aware that this is not normal.
As you
I arm myself.
As you get closer again, you would know too that the order of that you're from is actually hidden in a tree. It's some magic that sort of blocks view from other people, and it's placed in the centre of Talon's Hearth. However, as you approach Talon's Hearth, you see that villagers and commoners and people that you've met before lay dead, some in a heap, previously set on fire. Their bodies are charcoaled and black with burns all across them. You see some that are tied to trees and used as target practice.
I go to the bodies that I can see. Valar, now is not the time for us to get too emotional on this, but my friend, will you check the local houses and see if there are any survivors? I will look after these. I would send Valar out to do a quick scout around the rest of the town to see if there's any survivors. In the meantime, I'm going to try and give these people a little bit more dignity. I'm going to cut down those that I need to cut down. I'm going to take the arrows out. I'm going to press digitate all the bodies and get rid of all the soot and like nastiness from them, to at least give them a little bit more, and then I'll find sheets or whatnot to cover the rest of them up with, I think, at this point.
So the village is arranged around the tree, correct?
Yeah, so it's sort of like central roads heading to like a cross-section that head to the tree.
I Jackie Chanted up the wall onto the roofs, and using a combination of my natural dexterity and, of course, what's the dash move that I do? The Step of the Wind. Sorry, first time playing a monk. There you go, Step of the Wind.
It's going to work well.
And I use Step of the Wind to literally do a quick scout from above.
Beautiful.
Around, making sure that there are no... Are there anyone injured? Are there foes lying in wait between the buildings?
Roll
a very quick
advantage for me. See what you can see.
That was a 3. That was a 4, so 10. Even with advantage, 10 is the highest I get.
That's still enough to see the occasional people sort of going about trying to move bodies. You see someone that's like shaking, and in the distance he's like, you can see it from where you are, and you're probably a good 80 to 100 feet away, and his hands are shaking the shovel as he's digging a grave, and you see someone else that's sort of comforting.
Anybody who could benefit from immediate medical attention, or they're
the
either dead or alive?
you notice one that has like a gash on an arm that's on her arm that's just bleeding at the moment. The person with her is trying his best to put pressure on it and to look after it, but
Okay. I see no threats.
you don't see any threats.
Okay, so
How long
I
ago does
complete my sweep, and I tell Vesryn, there's someone who needs your help.
Right. I go over, I start organising the people that we can see. We start setting up our own little like triage system. I'm not very good at healing, but I am good at getting people to do what they're good at. So I find out who has the best skills in this sort of area, or if there are any like doctors left around. And while that's happening, I'd like to just let Valar know that it looks like this is centered around our tree. If you can subtly have a look inside and see if anyone else is affected, this seems a little bit more targeted than I like to admit, but these people come first.
Agreed. So, can I, if you're not very good at healing, why don't I medicine one of them?
Okay, yep.
The one who's bleeding, I attempt to bind up the wound quickly.
Okay.
And 18 plus 3 is 21, so hopefully
You
that's
managed to
stabilised it.
stop the bleeding. Obviously, it's going to need some sort of more medical attention than what you can provide. However, you did stop the bleeding. Thank you. They killed so many. They came in fast and hard.
I call out, everyone, gather around, tell Vesryn what has happened here. And as they all go towards it, Shadows of the Wild, I just step backwards and attempt to hide so that I can make towards the tree.
Okay. They'll sort of get up and start gathering around you, Vesryn. And as Valar starts to disappear. No.
So that's a 16
16, beautiful.
in total.
Okay, so you managed to disappear into the shadows. None of them seem to notice you. They all seem to be sort of a bit scared, and they're just doing as they're told because they don't know what else to do at this point.
Okay, so I check out
and they trust you
tree.
guys, having been sort of members around there. They don't know about the tree, but you would have seen them in town and stuff like that. Many
And they would have
occasions.
seen us buying supplies and things like that. So.
You go into what looks to be some sort of magical field. As you start getting right to the tree, you start seeing elaborate stairs that weren't there before, and they sort of scale around. You're quite familiar with these. Very beautifully designed with elven architecture, vines wrapping around it. You see two bodies that are lying dead on the staircase. They seem to be trying to head up into the tree. And as you approach upwards, can you roll me a perception?
So close. 8 plus 6 is 14.
14. So the amazing part of this tree is that it's got bridges connecting it to other trees. Now you couldn't see these trees when you were down in the town before, but you see where the smoke had originated. A part of the council chambers is now charcoaled. Part of the roof caved in. You again see the people that are dead around there. As you approach, you see someone that you recognise very clearly. You see laying slumped against the chamber council chambers is a elven lady who you recognise to be, drumroll, Mothriel Alvarin, someone who trained with you since you were but a kid.
And alive, dead, wounded.
And in her hand is a crumpled up note.
Awesome.
So,
Two bodies lie dead behind her.
any movement, any sense of a threat
No.
still here?
It seems that whoever did this had left.
Understood.
There is a body behind her that's dead. And as you go to investigate that, see if I can find the right hand out. Here we go. Is a tattoo that looks a lot like this on someone's face. They are humanoid.
Right? And not someone I recognise.
No, and not elven either. No one from your order. It seems that these were the people that did this.
It's good to know the face of your enemy. Thank you.
And we're going to cut over to Max.
Since I'm going to be showing this to you
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay, so Just another escort job.
Yeah. Awesome.
This time protecting a member of the council, Xandarin, an arrogant man
Like a little folding
with blonde hair, green eyes, and a poor excuse for a mustache. This was not a job you particularly wanted, but it does come with the promise of extra coin. It's a glorious day as you make your way down the eastern road, heading towards the Traders' Inn, which sort of marks a huge crossroad between the trading settlements in either direction of it. Cool. About a couple of hours journey, and you're travelling with 3 other guards, all friends of yours, and this arrogant man. Now, this guy, Xander, and he's currently riding on a cart while you guys are walking on foot. The guards are busy chatting amongst themselves, feeling like this is going to be a pretty easy job, considering that there's not much in the way of bad that happens on these roads. Bandits incredibly rarely are spotted around here. It's just customary that this particular noble has an escort at all times. You guys have been tasked for it. However, despite walking in a close formation, a couple of hours in, a large gust of wind courses across through the trees. You feel coldness inside as the glorious day turns into one overcast with dark clouds and shadows.
Okay.
A light rumble of thunder can be heard. And a fog rises. Can you roll me a perception, please?
Yeah. Good rolls today.
This is going to be
Out
great.
way early.
Bodes well.
That's a 6.
Deceptive creature you are.
Wow. You lost sight of the Xandarin and your other guards. They seem to walk ahead of you somehow. Despite walking at the same pace, you try and catch up, but you fail to do so.
Okay.
They seem to disappear into the mist. Still, the whispers of their chatter continuing and fading as they progress further. It seems like they weren't bothered by the same thing that you were bothered by.
Okay.
As you look to the side of the tree lines, you see a fire, a couple of logs, and an old man, long white wispy beard, pale eyes, seems to be transfixed on your gaze.
I'm like completely freaked out.
He looks blind as well, which is really fucking weird.
I'll make another shout out for my friends. Where are you guys? Just like
guys.
I've got my big halberd.
You hear this rumble and the clouds louder this time, seems to crack across the sky, and you don't see or hear any response whatsoever.
Okay.
And looking behind you, all you see is just like a road leading to nowhere, and a road that goes forward, ever forwards. And you start hearing a voice in your head. You feel alone when you're not. Guilty and ashamed. Come, let me tell you a tale. Your tale.
And we're going to leave that right here. Thank you so much for watching the first ever episode of Roll For It. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. And also, don't forget to turn on notifications so you know when episode 2 is out. We'll catch you next time. Bye.